been coaching now in the online space for over 6 years, and these are the 5 things I desperately wish I knew before I started my coaching career. And it's so interesting when I looked back at these 5 things because it was almost like I'd had a flaw of thinking. I had this really small perception of what it meant to be a coach, and I've just been blown away with some of the things that I've learned, both in the positive, but also in the negative. So here is the list of 5 things that I wish I knew before I started my coaching career. And the thing is like, you just don't know until you know. And so obviously hindsight's 2020. And that's why I just want to share with you, if you're interested in becoming a coach or deepening your coaching business, just some things to look out for, because oftentimes these are these little things that we don't understand until we do. Right? So the first thing that I wish I knew before I started coaching, something I talked about on this podcast before, but it's basically this idea of how long it's going to take to be successful. And the thing is that everyone is so different. Like, you can't have any kind of guarantee that like, oh, it's going to take you a year or 2 years or 4 months or whatnot. But I've also been around long enough to meet so many people in this industry. I've met so many people who are in the coaching or the alcohol-free space. And I get a sense nowadays of really what it takes to go from a total beginner to starting to really have some traction in your business. And I obviously have my own story to share as well. So the thing is that when you first get started, you're a total beginner. Like, you don't know jack shit about marketing. Even if you have a marketing degree or an MBA. I had an MBA and I still didn't know jack shit about online marketing. And so that's the hard thing of being a beginner, is that like, you are starting literally from square zero. Not only do you not have an audience, you don't have a community, you don't have a platform, all of that needs to be built from scratch. But you also really don't understand how to do online marketing very effectively. Because guess what? Nobody does. Nobody's born with it. Nobody knows how to do it. Even people who work in big firms knowing how to do marketing on a corporate level don't understand this world quite completely. And so it's kind of nice to give yourself some grace, understanding that like, you're not going to nail it out of the park right away, right? It does take some time to learn how to market and how to build an audience. And so depending on who you are and like what kind of passion you have and what kind of drive you have, obviously like how long it takes to be successful is going to vary from person to person. And the thing is what I mean by being successful doesn't mean the first dollar that you could make, because literally you could set up a coaching business and start making money next month. So it's not necessarily meaning like, oh, it's going to take this long to make your first penny in coaching, not at all. But what I've saw is that when I first started my coaching business, when I first like went online and said, I have something to sell, I have something to offer, here's my offer, come work with me, I actually had sales the very first month. However, it was just 2 sales and it was a low mid-ticket range offer. So it wasn't anything that was replacing my day job anytime soon. So I see that when I'm working with coaches and I've noticed other people in the industry, you start making money right away, especially if you really, really focus on the marketing. And if you're not, there's other ways to really be able to hone in, maybe giving away free sessions, for example, or, gifting people, just like literally getting to know as many people as possibly you can, so that therefore you can have more people in your network who want to work with you. So what I mean by being successful isn't just making your first few sales. I mean like, what do we mean by success? Usually it means like a salary you can actually count on and expect, and have, maybe a replacement from your day job, and not feel like you're stuck not making money, right? And so I think that for that definition of success, of how do I get from like, how could I actually go full time into coaching and leave my day job and all that kind of stuff, what I've seen on average is about 2 years. Now, I hit my first 6-figure a year into my business. So my first year I made $7,000, which again, like, is great for your first year, actually. That is an amazing thing to be able to learn how to sell anything in your first year. So I think that is something to really, really congratulate myself for, and for you too if you've been making any sales in your entrepreneurial venture. But it took another whole year for me to make my first 6 figures. So in that mark, it was about, 1.5 or 2 years, depending on how you count it, until I could really count myself as, okay, now I can leave my day job. Now I have a successful business and I know how to make a full-time salary, right? And I've worked with a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people in this industry. I've seen a lot of people in the, the other ancillary industries that are really similar. And that's the feeling I get as well, is that it takes about 1 to 2 years to really become successful. And the reason why I share this is because so many people get into this thinking it's some kind of get rich quick scheme. Like, it is mind-boggling to me how many people think that they're going to be, totally replacing their day job within the first month or something like that. And in one way, I love the passion and the zeal. Like, there are so many exceptions to the rule. There are so many anomalies. Like, you could make 6 figures your first year. You really could. Like, it's totally possible. But just the likelihood of that, because you're so new to marketing and you have such a baby audience, of none, basically, is just a little smaller, right? And I definitely know people who've swung it out of the park like that and are literally killing it that way. But just in all likelihood, if you're counting yourself among the averages, it probably is going to take you a year or 2 years to actually get to a full-time salary level. And I think that's really nice to know, because then you know what to expect. You're not like shooting yourself in the foot because you're not making 6 figures in your first few months. Like, that is both unreasonable and usually very, very unlikely just because of the stage of business that you're in. You have people around you that might want to work with you that they know you from other things like friends and family or acquaintances and stuff like that. But if you're brand new to building a company or a brand, you have a completely cold audience, right? And you really have to take time to nurture that and take time to start to learn how to do the marketing and how to sell offers and how to make the transformation seem so juicy that your clients want it. And I think at first, no matter who you are, even if you're a marketer, even if you're like a communications major, it was really hard for me, and I know a lot of people, to learn how to express themselves online to make what you have to sell sound so juicy to other people. And that is really a matter of practice and surrounding yourself with other people who know messaging really well and who know how to really market. And it's just a matter of like not waiting until you have it perfectly set out to start, but just knowing that every single time you open your mouth and every single time you post on social media, you're getting better. And so you have to force yourself to kind of suck at first. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with, I don't know what my brand is. I don't know what my niche is. I don't know exactly how to sell this. And it's only through practice and practice of articulation, practice of iterating your message, that you're going to get better at it. And that's kind of how anything works, right? Like, if you play baseball and you want to practice your swing, like, you can't just sit in the stand and hope that, oh my God, if I just visualize the perfect swing, I'm going to just come out and be able to do it. You have to go out there and practice. And so that's what I see a lot in beginner coaches, that they're trying to come out being perfect from the gate, but it often stops them in this like mask of perfectionism, essentially. And then they don't do very much. They don't do anything because they're just trying so hard to be so perfect from the very get-go. So give yourself the room to just explore, to just experiment, to just practice languaging, to practice messaging, to practice writing your audience and posting on social media and all that kind of stuff. Give yourself room to grow and evolve and expand in that, and to get better and better and better at both growing an audience and nurturing an audience. And so I love the 1 to 2 year time frame because it makes it so much more realistic, so much more doable. And then you're not shitting all over yourself. Like, oh, I should be way more successful by now. I should be signing so many more clients by now. I should be blah, 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 blah. The thing is that if you really want to build something meaningful, it takes time. If we look at some of the greatest entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, which I love, they're just my heroes, like Sarah Blakely with the Spanx, like, she wasn't successful at first. She used to go to stores all around the nation and like trick people to sell the Spanx. She would even hide the Spanx in the store, I believe. So like, if we think that you're going to be some kind of overnight success and just take off and go viral the very first time you post, first of all, I hope that doesn't happen because you're not ready for it and you don't have the system set up in the back end to be ready to take that influx. But also, it's like we're meant to cut our teeth first. That's literally how any skill works, is that you're meant to practice it and get better over time. So if you knew that it took about a year or two, let's just say 2 years, to become successful and to have that 6-figure salary with a lot of hard work, obviously, and really mastering the marketing, are you okay with that? Are you okay with knowing that, like, this isn't something that I hit the lottery tomorrow? However, that there's so much room to grow once you start becoming successful in that way. And I think that's what's really exciting, is that there is really no cap when it comes to building your own business. And so if I would have known from the get-go that it takes about 2 years to really become successful with, continuing the consistency and showing up and posting and building an audience and doing all the things that we're supposed to do, I would have not given myself such a hard time for like failing at the beginning. And honestly, when I look back, I didn't fail at the beginning at all. Like, I was successful and I was doing the things, but I held myself to such a high expectation. And especially when I compared myself to other people who were more ahead of me, I really allowed it to get me down. And so I just hope that this lesson can help you, no matter where you are in your business, to just understand, like, some things just take time, and it's not a matter of like leaning back and waiting for it to happen. Like, oh, no matter what, she said 2 years, I'm going to be successful. But it's a matter of just understanding that that's usually how long it takes. And a lot of people, like, when you look at a lot of really amazing entrepreneurs, they were getting crickets. They were hearing no's. They were not making the sales. They were making random sales before it really started to take off. And I think that that makes it just know that you're growing at your pace. Like, everything's happening for a reason. And it's really nice to know that there's so much success that is waiting for you. It's just not happening overnight, right? And I absolutely hate to see people who get into this industry and give up after a few months because it wasn't happening for them fast enough. And that to me is crazy. That to me is like, I don't know, giving up your dreams of being a ballerina because you can't do a pirouette like on your first day. Like, of course you can't. You know what I mean? Give yourself some freaking grace and start to have fun with it. Start to really enjoy the journey. And that's something I also really wish I knew, is that I knew from the very get-go that it would take about 2 years to really like land on my feet and become successful in coaching, I would have had more fun. And I think I did have a lot of fun in the beginning. Like, every new thing was exciting. Every time I figured out a tech problem or my website or something like that, I was like, oh my God, I did it. Anytime I was invited to be on a podcast or, collaborate with someone, it was really fun. But at the same time, I was really hard on myself. And I kept looking at like, I can't wait until I hit this milestone or that milestone or this milestone. And I almost like didn't really appreciate where I was and the journey so much. Like, you'll never be a beginner again. Really enjoy it. Enjoy the learning. Enjoy every little win, because literally everything is a win when you're a beginner. Every new thing you do or master or learn how to do or like overcome or get outside of your comfort zone is something to celebrate, which I think is really, really special. Okay, so the second thing that I wish I knew when I first started, and this really goes along with the first one, is how important marketing actually is. So I think whenever we become an entrepreneur, or you have some kind of skill set, or you're a practitioner or a coach, you think that that's your main job. So let's just say you're a chiropractor, right? If you're a chiropractor, then the thing you should be doing is chiropractic most of the time, right? Is like helping people with their backs. But that's actually incorrect. If you are also the CEO, if you are a solopreneur, if you are launching something that's really built off of your brand, your face, your name, then you are not 50 or 100% a coach, right? You are actually 50% a marketer. And that's a huge shift that I started learning as I was growing my business. Because I thought that as long as I learned the coaching skills and the, ways to be able to help people change their relationship with alcohol, then I would be set, right? But in essence, really, whatever your job is, when you're an entrepreneur, 50% of your job is doing that thing, that skill that you have, the coaching itself, and the other 50% is being a marketer. And I would even say that it's actually more accurately 49% more of your skill set and 51% being a marketer. And so what does that mean? It means that half of your time needs to be devoted to marketing. And what does marketing maybe look like? So this is all the things around building an audience. This is all the things around nurturing your audience, learning how to communicate and sell your offer, learning how to share the transformations of your offer, learning how to speak to your dream clients, growing your audience by getting on podcasts, articles, maybe writing a book for yourself, growing an email list, growing on social media, how to even post on social media. And so what I see so often happening in the coaching industry is so many people focus only on the skills of coaching, which are very important. Like, if you want to be the best coach you can be, if you want to really help people with massive transformations, get the skills, because you're not going to just come up with it in your head, right? You should be getting the skills and really invest in yourself in that education. But then the thing I see is all these people graduate from certification programs with no business training, and then they flounder. They completely flounder. They have no idea what they're doing in the online space. And even if they're kind of savvy to social media, it still takes so much longer to get the traction because they don't know how to speak in the language that their ideal customers, want to hear. They don't know how to share the transformation and the value of their offers. They don't really know how to sell. Selling is still super awkward and stuff like that. And it's just these things that I wish I knew to devote more time to that when I was first starting, because it would have sped up my journey as well. And almost the joy of what my job really is. So the joy of what my job really isn't just helping people with transformations. It's also educating the world on what's possible. And that's really what marketing can do. And so I'm astounded again at how many people graduate different certification programs, don't know anything about business training. Maybe they had a little bonus training on how to set up a website or something like that. And then they are so stuck trying to find clients, trying to make money, trying to get traction in the online world. That's why when I built the Empowered AF Coach certification program, I knew it was so important that the business training wasn't secondary, that it wasn't just some little small smidge of the certification while you got the trainings to be a coach. To me, it was 50-50. It needs to be 50-50, and it's that important to focus on marketing. Because like I said, the reason why someone isn't successful in their first and second year usually in a new business is they don't know jack shit about marketing, and especially in the online space. So in the Empowered AF Coach certification, where you get 5 different certifications under your belt, we spend a lot of time developing you into the best coach you can absolutely be. You have 5 different modalities under your belt, so you are a skilled mindset coach, a skilled alcohol-free life coach, a skilled success coach, a skilled NLP practitioner, and a skilled hypnosis practitioner. But if that was it, I would feel like I was not doing you a service, because we spend the next half of the time, the program is 10 months long, so 5 months in for the certifications, 5 months for the business training. Yep, half, 50-50, because it is so important. And whenever I see people who are struggling in a coaching business, who are struggling in their entrepreneurial ventures, this is the missing thing. This is what they need to devote more time for. It's not just learning the marketing, it's also practicing the marketing. Because like I mentioned in the number 1 thing I wish I knew, you have to keep iterating. You have to actually put stuff out there and then make it better and better and better. And so you can't just hold back waiting for it to be perfect. You have to stab at your attempt at sales pages. You have to start emailing an audience and building an email list. If you have a podcast, you have to put up your first episode. Your first episode on a podcast is going to be crap, right? But that's okay. That's the point. That's what it's supposed to be. It's allowed to be like that. You'll be really proud of it in the moment, actually. But then when you look back a year or 2 from then, you're like, wow, I got a lot better. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? So allow yourself to be a beginner and to make all the missteps. But know that as you practice and really surround yourself in masterminds, group coaching programs with business mentors, around other entrepreneurs and coaches, you're going to scale and improve so much more than if you're on the side just trying to do things alone. And there's certain programs, I'm not going to name them, but that I really know they don't focus on business coaching. And I see graduates of these programs and I'm like, oh my God, they taught you nothing. You have no idea what you're doing, right? And that again just breaks my heart, which is why it's so important for me in the 5X certification program to spend half of our time doing the business training so you know how to grow and scale a successful company. So that's what I wish I knew, and as a role of myself, that I'm going to be 49% a coach and 51% of a marketer. And to tell you the truth, I love it, and I really wouldn't have it any other way. And if it sounds intimidating for you, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised that marketing is part of the joy, because really what marketing is sharing the message. It's sharing the love. If you have the cure for cancer, you can't just sit all day administrating it to people, right? Part of you also has to go tell the world that you have the cure for cancer. And that's really what marketing can be. It's an act of love and it's an act of service, of sharing with people what's possible in their lives and the transformations that they can get from working with you or in your programs. Okay, the third thing I really wish I knew before I started my coaching business is that, especially as a beginner, I find that we soak up so much from other influencers, other gurus, other leaders, that it almost mutes our own authentic voice. So I remember so often having these opinions. Like, for example, I'm very opinionated about how important I believe purpose is in our lives. I think if you don't have purpose, I think you're going to be unfulfilled. I think that you need a purpose outside of, raising kids and outside of, just following the corporate ladder. Unless that is like literally the thing that gives you so much fulfillment, 9 times out of 10, and most people I meet, it's not. I think purpose is something that everybody needs to like really feel like they mattered in life and that they came here to fulfill their dharma. And that is my personal opinion. Not everybody shares that. Some people are offended by it. Some people are triggered by it. And I remember, especially as I was starting out, I would hear messages from other people saying like, oh, it's okay if you don't know your purpose in life, or you don't have to have a purpose in life. You're doing a good job just as you are. And part of me felt like, well, because this person is more established than me, or older than me, or, a bigger influencer than me, they must be right. And maybe I should change my messaging a little bit. And so what would happen is that I would stifle my own authentic intuition and authenticity and voice to try to match what I thought these other gurus are saying. And this is the thing I wish I knew before starting my coaching business, is that your personality and your passion for the things you're passionate about are the very things that are going to sell and make you a success. When you try to be like other people and you mimic other people and you parrot other people, and like maybe you're super passionate, let's say, about like self-love, like everything revolves around self-love to you. If you could just help people love themselves more, the whole world would be fixed, right? And then you hear a podcast where someone's saying like, it's not that important, people need more discipline, and all of a sudden you feel kind of stupid. And you're like, here I thought self-love was the thing that mattered most, but Dr. Whatever over here is saying that it's actually consistency or discipline. And then you start toning down your passion for self-love. That's exactly what happened to me with purpose. And I think that is so stifling. And it actually makes you so unpalatable, because then you just start sounding like everybody else, and you're really looking up for some kind of authority to approve you. If only you'll speak just like the other gurus and just like the other authority coaches and leaders, then you've made it. And so buck that. I know it's really hard in the beginning because, again, you don't know what you're doing. So you try to mimic and parrot like the people who are above you as much as possible. But that is a recipe literally for failure. You're never going to be able to mimic someone else's passion for the thing they're passionate about. Only you can find what you're passionate about and then share that passion authentically and with joy. And so if it's like you're super passionate about helping people heal their hormones, that needs to be a huge part of your brand. If you're super passionate about helping people find themselves when they're empty nesters, that needs to be a huge part of your brand. So like, it's not necessarily the offer that sells. It's not just saying, hey, you're gonna lose 50 pounds if you work with me, that sells someone. Because guess what? Nowadays on the internet, you could probably find 100 different companies or coaches that are telling people that if you work with their method, they'll lose 50 pounds. So it's not just that thing that the people want from you. You have to share your authentic passion for your vehicle, for your method of why this is going to change someone's life. And you can't fake that. And so you have to like dig really, really deep into your own story and to the things that really matter to you to be able to express that authentically. And also know it's okay if it sounds different. Actually, it's better if it sounds different. If other people aren't talking about it, that's probably a good thing, because it means that you're onto something. You're onto a new way of talking about a problem. Like, if you think about it, we've had the same problems in society for a long time. We don't need old solutions to the problems. We need your innovation. We need your breath of fresh air. And sometimes that's just like a personality thing. Like, if you're super, super passionate about showing up without any makeup on and going live on Instagram, and then you get super self-conscious because you see all these other people being super done up and using filters, like, that's your passion. That's your passion, is being so authentic, just showing up as you. And so the passion and the personality thing can be really shown in different ways depending on who you are. Some people are really like funny. Like, I'm not funny. I don't know how to make funny reels. I don't know how to make funny emails. Like, humor's not really my thing. I like funny shows or like movies, but it's not like a gift of mine, right? And some clients I've worked with are so freaking funny. and they make humor part of their brand. So it's like whatever is your little special sauce, whatever is your gift, whatever is your passion, you have to inject that into your business, because if you think that you're going to get by just trying to be like everyone else, you're going to lose the secret sauce. And so a lot of times you'll come up to a junction when you think that, oh my God, I need to stop talking like this and I need to start talking more like this because this person's successful. And that's really the opposite. Yes, people can help you with your messaging to dial in more and to get more articulate and to like really punch through to like what you're saying, but make sure that you keep your passion, your things that like really interest you, the things that make you you, and your personality. Because at the end of the day, if 100 people are telling you that you can lose 50 pounds with their method, who are you going to choose? You're going to choose the person that you vibe most with their personality and with their passion. So make that unique, make that differentiated, and really allow yourself to be you in your business. Okay, the fourth thing that I didn't know before I started my coaching business, this one's going to make me cry a little bit, but I didn't know how damn fulfilling it was going to be. Like, I really didn't. I got into it because I obviously wanted to help people. I had such a big transformation in my life. I wanted to share that with other people. I wanted to get out of my 9-to-5 job. I wanted to have a business that was successful, that allowed me to travel. But I did not understand like how working with clients one-on-one and in group format is one of the most sacred things you could ever do. Like the level of intimacy that you form with people, the level of like knowing their biggest dreams, their biggest fears. I've never had that kind of relationship with anyone I've met outside of this world. You know, even sometimes with our partners and with our best friends and with our sisters, it doesn't go that deep because, right? Because it's not usual in our society to talk about our biggest dreams or our biggest fears or whatnot. And that's kind of what coaching's about, is like you get so intimate with someone, even not just in one-on-one, even in group programs, where like you really know their sacred dreams, you really know their sacred desires and their sacred goals, and you know the things that are holding them back too, and you talk about all that stuff. And then you start helping them and seeing the changes and seeing the difference. And you start seeing like a month in, 2 months in, 3 months in, 4 months in, 5 months in, a year in, how much this person has changed as a result of working with you. And they have become this powerful beacon of light in their own right. And you are like, you're just awestruck. You're just awestruck at the fact that this is a role you could play in someone's life. That you could be such a cheerleader, that you could be such a teacher that really sees the best in them, that you could really, really help them know when they're stepping into fear and when they're truly stepping into faith, that you could play just such a magical role. I literally feel so fulfilled almost every single day. And I notice that I feel most fulfilled on days that I have interaction with clients and group participants. That is literally like I put my head on my pillow at night and I'm like, I'm doing my job. Like, this is what I was put on the planet to do. And the thing is, it's so interesting that I always wanted a career where I felt like I was making an impact. And I never felt like that. I was tutoring when I was much younger. So like even there, I got that one-on-one interaction and I was helping people learn to read and do math and stuff. And that was really, really cool. But it wasn't quite like, oh my God, let's help you become like Superman or Superwoman, right? And I also had a job in a university and was helping people with social innovation and sustainability goals. Obviously that stuff is very, fulfilling and helps the planet and whatnot, but I didn't actually feel like I was making a difference. And so when I got into coaching, I had no idea the layer of depth and the true feeling of meaning I could get from this job. And that's why I share the gift of coaching with other people. That's why we have this certification program, because it is so fulfilling. And especially when you've gone through your own transformation, you know where you were before and you know where you are after. And it's like an act of love. You just have to share that with other people. And I think becoming a coach and formalizing it into a business is literally one of the most sacred things you could do, which is why I love to share that with people and help them become coaches and deepen their coaching skills and literally become the best coaches that they can be. Because it is a divine job, truly. It is so freaking fulfilling. And like, I know no matter what, like at the end of my life, I won't have those regrets that I didn't do my purpose, that I didn't do my dharma, that I didn't live a fulfilling life. Like the level of care, the level of joy, the level of celebration, the love of like investment that you get into helping people change their lives, there's nothing. There's nothing that even comes close to it. So, the fifth thing that I wish I knew when I started my business was how many opportunities you actually have to make money and different income streams. I think when I started, I was so close-minded about what I was going to do and how I was going to help people. So when I first started, I actually started with course. So a course is like something someone takes, they self-study it, they go through it on their own. And, you know, most courses are under $1,000. It could be a little more, obviously, but just in general, that's like how a course works. And that's all I really saw for myself at first, you know? And then I got into one-on-one coaching, and then that's all I kind of saw for myself at first. And so I had these kind of like two offers, either one-on-one coaching or the course. And I thought that that was really all you could offer as a coach. And so, you know, at the time, I think my course was like $800. And, you know, maybe like 3, 4, 5 people would buy it a month at first. And so I was making some money, but like, you know, not a 6-figure salary from that. And I was so obsessed with like, how can I get like way more people to buy it? How can I get like 100 people a month to buy it? And it was so like a secular thing because I didn't have an audience big enough yet to sustain that. And I was so obsessed with just growing the number of people that would get into the program. I was kind of missing all these opportunities that I had to also make money. And so I wish I wasn't so short-sighted with that. And then even when I started one-on-one coaching, you know, I did that a few months later. You know, that was amazing because the one-on-one coaching is a much more premium service. It's couple of $1,000s, you know, it can go up to, you know, tens of thousands of dollars depending on your niche and who you are. And so I started doing that, and that started bringing obviously a lot more money in, and you work with so many people at a time. And I got to a point where I got completely capped. Like I was working with way too many clients at one point. I even burnt out a little bit with it because I just had so many different calls on my schedule and so many different people I was working with. And so again, I'm like in this really narrow-minded focus of like, okay, well, the course is only $800. How many people are going to buy that? And then the one-on-one is a couple $1,000s, but I can't work with that many people. And so again, I got in this like weird stuckness about thinking about like where I can actually grow this business and how I can continue like building the revenue and the income and really, really growing. And so I think what was really, really cool was when I discovered all these other different kind of offers, all these kind of other different income streams to really grow as a coach. And I thought that I wouldn't dive into it in this episode. I'm going to actually record a separate episode on it. I think of 10 different income streams that I've used to really grow my business and to make a lot of revenue in this company. And I wanted to share that because I don't think it's common knowledge about all these different opportunities that you have to really bring in revenue into your business. And not all of it depends on having a huge audience and having like 1 million people buy your thing every single month. And I think that's really smart to do when you are a coach. And that way you're able to hit that 6-figure mark so much faster because again, you're not relying on 100 million people to buy a really low ticket thing or burning yourself out with way too many one-on-one clients as well. So I'm going to share with you those 10 ways in this another episode. So be sure to stay tuned and look out for that next episode. But I'm super curious, if you're already a coach, what surprised you about really getting into this industry, really learning everything that you've learned? Like, what are some things that you wish you knew before? Maybe we'll do another episode like this. And if you're just thinking about becoming a coach and starting your company, what was helpful here? Like, what was one of the best pieces of advice? What really helped you know which direction to take? So if you know that you want this level of fulfillment, if you know that you went through a transformation for a reason, if you knew that you want to lay your head on a pillow every single night feeling like you have such a deep purpose and sense of meaning, I think it's time to become the best coach you can be. And I'm going to personally invite you to join our spring round of the 5X certification program. This is the Empowered AF Coach certification program that certifies you in 5 different modalities. It's an alcohol-free designation, so you do know that you're getting skilled and help people change their relationship with alcohol, but that's not it, because I don't want you to be just a one-trick pony. I want you to be able to help people for their whole life at any problem, opportunity, or challenge that they're coming up with. That's why this certification is so holistic. It has so many different modalities that you get skilled in and really helps you through many life situations. The first coaching certification you get is a mindset coach. Mindset coach really understands the difference between how the subconscious mind and the conscious mind function and how we pick up so many different limiting beliefs and fears in our lives. So that when you're working with a client, you can literally drill through knowing when they're speaking of limiting beliefs, when they're speaking of fears, when they have masks, when they're in their imposter syndrome. Anytime they're not in their full power, you're going to be able to see that so clearly as a coach and then be able to guide them out of it and change those limiting beliefs at the subconscious level. This is one of the coolest things ever. I think it's a skill set that is so needed in our world because oftentimes, we take things at face value, and that face value isn't really who we are. Just because I'm scared of taking the next step doesn't mean I shouldn't take it, and a really good coach would be able to see that for me and help me through that. Next, we move into the alcohol-free life coaching designation. This is where you learn how to help someone make their desires for alcohol disappear, to truly change the subconscious desire for alcohol. This is really cool that you can use because it can be something that, if you're an alcohol-free coach through and through and that's your main brand, obviously you're going to be helping people with that mainly. You can help people take a 90-day break, for example, and then cut back if they wanted to. So reducing alcohol, I think, is also really important in our society. But also too, you can help people with multiple different niches and bring this in as a tool. So I know a lot of health coaches, especially hormone coaches. I know career coaches, midlife coaches, people that work in all different kinds of industries that bring in the alcohol-free coaching as a way to really, really help clients get to the next level and or marry it with something else, like marrying alcohol-free with human design, for example. So it's a really interesting thing that you can do either as the solo niche you have or blending it with other passions that you have to really help people. And we all know alcohol and what we've now know as a society about it, you can't go back to ignorance. Society knows now how bad drinking is, basically. Most people, I think, know that in a way deeper way in 2025 than they did 10 years ago. And so more and more people are waking up to that. More and more people want to change their relationship with alcohol. All doctors are saying that you shouldn't be drinking. And yet, how? How do you actually do that? How do you actually make sustainable changes to it? And that's going to be a really valued skill set. The next certification is the Success Coaching Certification. This is where you learn to help someone really know what they want most in their life, to know what their sense of purpose and a sense of meaning and a sense of fulfillment looks like for them. That can look really different person to person, but it's something so special because no matter who you are or where you're going in life, if you don't have a sense of what that next chapter is and a sense of purpose through it and a sense of fulfillment, it's so easy to go back to the distracting or numbing behaviors that we do and playing small. And I think having a sense of purpose and fulfillment is really what we're all here on this planet to have and to do and fulfill our different dharmas. The next certification is an NLP certification. So this is an NLP practitioner where you learn really how the mind encodes information and how you can change the filing of the mind to make subconscious changes so that you can remove limiting beliefs, remove limiting and negative emotions faster, and just some really incredible techniques to speak to that. Tony Robbins is so big in NLP. He started his career there. He's now shifted a little bit more to be more holistic, which is why this certification is also super holistic. It's not just one modality, but that's where those rapid fire, really cool transformations can happen. And then last but not least, we also cover hypnosis, which is really speaking directly to the subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind was like a sponge when we were kids. And as a hypnosis practitioner, you learn to put someone into a state where their mind is functioning very similar to how it used to when they were children. And they're able to really soak up positive, new goals and new futures and new identities for themselves through the power of hypnosis. So those are the 5 certifications, but like I said, we do 50-50. So it's not just learning how to become the best coach you can be. We also have practicums throughout all of our certifications so that you're getting 10 different practicums to actually practice everything you're learning. I know so many people who graduate other programs who get a little diploma and then they never become a coach because they never feel confident enough. They didn't actually practice anything they learned. That is not happening here. We spend so much time doing practicums and practicing. It's part of the program, so you don't have to do it on your own time, which is really cool. And it's just one session a week that we have, a 90-minute session where we're either learning new material or doing a practicum, so you know that no matter what, you're progressing and getting that competence as you need. So then you graduate, we go off to a dreamy destination in SoCal. It's usually Palm Springs. I'm thinking, should I change it up? But I think it's going to be Palm Springs next time. Maybe we'll change it up in the future. And this is where we come together for an all expenses paid retreat. So your lodging, your food, the training, all the mocktail parties, the dance parties, everything is covered. And what we do together is learn how to become the most abundant and successful coach that you can be, the most impactful coach that you can be, and how to really embody that in a business and in a brand. And then we come back for 4 more months of business training so that you learn how to grow and scale a successful company. And I bear it all. We go over 16 different workshops together so that you know every single strategy and method to grow your business and get clients and grow your empire. I think it sounds amazing. It has been the most fulfilling thing for me to help other people fulfill their dreams of becoming coaches. I know that I'm not here on this planet to help 7 billion people change their relationship with alcohol. I believe we need more leaders in this space. I believe we need more coaches, more people who are standing up for what they're passionate about and helping other people remove subconscious blocks. And so seeing other people just sprout into these beautiful careers, signing clients left and right, getting on podcasts, getting on stages, going viral, like that is my greatest joy because I know the level of impact it's making and I know how many lives are being changed as a result of it. So applications are now open for the coaching certification program and we start April 2nd. However, we have a little bit of an early bird going on right now, so you get exclusive pricing if you apply and enroll in the month of February. So be sure to get your application in ASAP because once you apply, you and I will get on an interview so we can see if it's a good fit for you and I can get to know you better. We don't accept everyone in this program. We're actually pretty selective, so I want to make sure that you're a good fit and that you truly have the passion and the growth mindset needed to be super successful. And also to understand just more about the program so that you can ask your questions of me and we can have like a two-way street of really getting to see if this is a good fit for you. So go be sure to get in the link in bio to submit your application. Be sure to do that in the month of February so that you can qualify for the early access exclusive pricing. You'll save thousands of dollars if you do. And I cannot wait to speak to you and tell you all about the program and really hear about your coaching dreams and how we can help you achieve them. Because you didn't go through a transformation with alcohol just to sit on it. You basically have a cure for cancer. You have to share it with the world. You are meant to help people. You are meant to have a legacy of impact. You are meant to have a really abundant, successful career in this. Because why not? Why did you go through this if not for that? So I hope to meet you. I can't wait to talk. And I hope you enjoy this episode and stay tuned for another episode on 10 ways to make more money in a coaching business.